There's room to grow in every profession. Insurance is no exception. Welcome to the Ensurity Group. Learn how to become a better and more productive insurance agent. If you're an insurance agent, you've found your community. The Ensurity Group, specializing in life, health, and accidental products. Our mission is do good, be good, make good, always. And our motto is learn, grow, have fun, and make money. This is the Ensurity Group. And this is Mo Flores.
Columbia is a good product for a lot of our agents are focusing in on it because they have great premiums. And, you could not even be contracted today. You could go out and write a policy on yourself, turn your contracting in the application today. And, we could send it in and get your writing number and you can get paid. So it's kind of nice to have that. And then in addition to that, another reason that agents tend to like it is it has a great final expense product. It does have, kind of a whole life term product mixed together called Life Solutions. And then it also has a simplified issued term. And along with that, all of those products are available to people with Social Security numbers, green card numbers, and TIN numbers. So often it's kind of hard to find, especially in certain sections of the country, an insurance company that really caters to the taxpayer identification number marketplace.
Yeah.
And we'll go over that in a little more detail, and even show you from the head underwriter who sometimes we have come on a call and do some training with us, how they treat, CFG treats TIN numbers. It's basically just like a social number. If you can show that you're living here, that's fantastic. They want you, and they take your word for it, by the way. So those are the reasons I think that you're going to see, people like the product. The first one up on top, we called the final expense, a whole life final expense. They call it dignified choice. They had to change the name a couple of years ago. They have 3 products in there, kind of the ones, if you're in good health, you get the elite product. The select product is, I'm in good health, but I got a few things wrong with me. And the classic advantage is, I'm really taking lots of meds and I'm not doing well. So 3 final expense products. They are all simplified issued. The classic, elite, and select are full benefits. So it's not a graded policy. It's immediate full benefit. And then the classic advantage, of course, is a graded benefit. That we'll go through that as well. So that's the final expense. The Life Solutions, when you're doing your contracting, it's called LP90, and it's a product that it's paid up at the age of 90, but you can write it on children all the way up to 80 years old. It's got a number of benefits, riders that you can put in on it. It has some real advantages, probably what you'd see if you dug into the product or played around with the premium. They have really high cash value. So it is nice to have a product that builds, a huge cash value. And, we can do that if we take a look at the quoting a little bit later. The other nice thing before I dive into the SafeShield term product is one of the nice things we can do with CFG while you're getting contracted. We give you full access to all of the applications, all of the brochures, all the marketing material. You can put all of the quoting, you can put it on your iPad or your cell phone or your computer. And we give you access to that right away because they want you to write. One of the things that you have to do is you have to take an app, and that very first app has to be by paper and it has to be a wet signature. So the very first app is going to be by paper with a wet signature, and we're going to attach your contracting at the same time. So we bring in-house, we get your contracting paperwork, we take your application, whatever it is, doesn't matter, final expense or whatever, that comes into us. Our team looks it over, make sure it's complete, and then we send it to a dedicated person that we have at the company that's going to go in and take a look at your personal contract, as well as at the same time, process the application for your client. So just want to be sure right up front that you know that, because if I don't mention it, then it's an issue, right? It's just the way they do it, and we have to live with it. So again, dignified choice is the final expense. Life Solutions, really builds these high cash values. It's a term product with a whole life built into it. It's kind of unique. And then finally is the SafeShield term. And the SafeShield term has a non-return of premium, just a straight term product, 15, 20, 30 years. And then it has a return of premium, which the return of premium is 50%. So that product, that return of premium product, has a 20-year return of premium and a 30-year return of premium, of course, based on age. All of that's built into the software. And lots of riders on these kinds on that SafeShield term, a lot of free riders as well. Zero premium is the way we should say it. So this is a product guide right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to send this out to you. I always have Elizabeth or Danelli will send this out, email it out to you guys so that you have everything that we're talking about. This is just a nice little overview of the summary, okay? I am going to mention this simple security MDO. We're not going to talk about. We're going to focus you in on the final expense, the Life Solutions, and the SafeShield term. And somewhere down the road, we might talk about this, but we're just not going to do that today. So with SafeShield, with the SafeShield term product with CFG, this is a brochure. It's called the Living Benefit Rider. And it's always kind of nice to start off with some of the benefits that you get with an insurance company that may be unique to many people. And one of the things that you can get at a zero premium is a living benefit rider. This particular one is with the SafeShield term. The final expense has some stuff too, but we probably all know somebody that has had a heart attack or cancer. My wife has battled cancer. I've had a father who had a heart attack. I've had a really good friend who was instrumental from one of the insurance companies. Used to be an old farmer's agent, went to Unicare, went to Blue Cross, and he recently died of ALS. It's a horrible disease, but I have another friend who his wife was an attorney. She just had to go through a kidney transplant. She was fortunate enough to find a match, a donor match. We all know people who have had these kinds of things happen. What's nice about life insurance, and I don't know all of your background, I have to assume you have some knowledge, but these living benefit riders, the life insurance policy is to give you some financial support to your beneficiaries when you die. It pays in case you die, but the living benefit riders pays you, and you don't have to die. So it's a really nice zero premium product that comes with, in this case, the SafeShield terms. They don't care how you spend the money. If you need it, you can go out and go on a vacation or buy a new car or cover your medical expenses because you have these huge ACA out of pockets, as an example. But these benefits are for critical illness, chronic illness, and terminal illness. So everybody knows Alex Trebek. He had a terminal illness, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. In a case like that, just using him as an example, you would be able to access up to 95% of your life insurance policy because you have a terminal illness. And that's just an example. He could have done that before he died. And what happens with these products is if you have, and we can even look at the cost of how all this is and show you where the rider is in there and how it works out. But in the case of a terminal illness, you're going to die within, or from a doctor is going to give you advice that you're going to pass away within 12 months. That's a terminal illness. You can access 95% of your premium. That is a zero cost on this product. It's a great way to lead in when you're making your sales. You have a zero premium critical, chronic, and terminal illness policy. So this little brochure here, you can order these anytime you want, and order 100 of them if you want. And it gives you a breakdown of what all of this is about. What's also nice is that on a term product, you get a dirt cheap premium. And here you are getting a zero cost free benefit that's on a really cheap, inexpensive life insurance policy, and it's protecting you if you live or if you die. So I hope you appreciate the value of this. And I would make this as the number one thing I'd talk about when I was making a sale. So we'll send this out to you as well, but I'm going to show you how you can download all of these, even without being contracted. We'll do that when we go live. I just want to review a few PDFs that we have. So this is a agent guide for the Simplified Issued Term. SIT stands for the SafeShield Simplified Issued Term. If you look on this guide, these are your numbers that you can call the company. Obviously, you have full access to us. We give you full support. However, agents sometimes need to call the company. One of the reasons that they need to call is, they might have a claims issue with their client, or maybe they don't understand, what's going on with a policy that's sitting in new business. So if you have a policy in place, application, I should say, in place, and there's a couple of questions. By the way, CFG is going to hound you to get the missing information. You're going to get phone calls and emails from them directly that says, hey, we need this, 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 or this.
Oh, it smells like dookie in here.
So this new business, you might want to give them a call. You dial this number, you punch the extension in, and you can ask any question you want. It's a luxury to be able to talk to live people. And for some of you who have been on these trainings before, you know that I personally really like CFG. And the reason I like it, not so much because of the product, is because of the people. It is so rare to find an insurance company. I like Mutual of Omaha. They're a friendly company too. But this is really a good company. When you call, I hardly ever have I ever had somebody who was in a bad mood when I call. They're just friendly people. The business team is out of Birminghton. It's hard to say, Birmingham, New York, and just a group of wonderful people up there. You can call them live and talk to somebody. You don't get put on hold forever. You don't have to hit 6 different buttons to get to somebody. It's really a nice company to work with. And I hope you could appreciate that. If you need sales support, of course, you can call us or them. And underwriting, I bring this up really because of underwriting. So when Mo and I are not underwriters, we can give you a little bit of help with products, but we are not underwriters. The underwriting team is at the insurance company. If you have somebody who has some problems that you're not sure how they are going to be accepted with the company, guess what? The extension number is 5904, and you can call them. They're open like 12 hours a day. You can email them. You can look in the underwriting guide, but you can call underwriting and say, I've got this client. Here's the information. What do you think you're going to do with it, right? That is a nice benefit. You get full access to our underwriters. So it's a nice little benefit to have. Again, you're going to get this in the emails. Now, the next thing is, well, that's good, Gary. You're going to show me how to run quotes. Then what's going to happen if I make a sale? Well, you got to go in and fill out an application. So in that same agent underwriting guide or agent guide, towards the end of that, you're going to find an application that is an example of how to fill an application out. And I like to go over this because this saves everybody time. When you do not complete an application properly, it's going to get held up. Now, this is an example of a paper app. CFG also has applications that are e-apps. So you can take applications in person. You can take applications over the phone and close the sale with voice signature, which is really nice. It's up to you how you want to do it. The questions are the same. So I just want to show you there's an application in here because almost every agent gets his first app, his or her first app, and then they call and want me to walk them through every question. So I'm thinking that if I share this with you, you might be able to take a look at it. I'm going to point out a few areas on the application because some of you might go take an app today, and that would be wonderful. We'll send you the contracting thing. And then what you're going to do is take an application, fill it in, and it's pretty simple. It's only a few pages long. Up here, it's name, address, phone numbers, social, I-10. I point this out on the top where it says social green card number. There's not enough room in there to put I-10, This is social, green card, or I-10 right here. Here's an area where they often forget. Wherever you see a blue arrow, that's where agents make all of their mistakes, or a good portion of them. You have to put the relationship here. So we need name and relationship. There's a lot of Jose Gomez. We need to know, who is it? You know, a son, a daughter, a spouse, a wife. Well, who is it? And any other information that you can give us is helpful. We just do need bare minimum information though. We need name and we need relationship. If you can give any more, that is wonderful. Another area that they often forget, and you have to make the call. Do you want the policy delivered to you as an agent with the opportunity to get referrals and cross-sell, or do you want to send it directly to the owner? With COVID, a lot of the agents were pushing it right out to the owner. What does happen if you do get an amendment that needs to be signed because you forgot something, then that's going to go to you as an agent, and then you would have to get that amendment signed in order for the policy to be placed. So even if you put owner, you're going to get that amendment. Anyway, you check that box. That's something that's often overlooked. This one is, here is another one here. Agents often forget to put this 0 on page 2. It says amount paid with application. This 0 indicates that you're doing an EFT, and we always do EFT. We're not collecting money and sending in, and it delays the process. So they often leave this out, and then that just holds it up. So up here, you're going to put, what product am I taking? You know, this is term product, of course, but is it return a premium, or is it a regular plan, 10, 15, 20, 30-year term, tobacco, non-tobacco? You know, you got to check this off. This box on the right hand here, it says total premium, including riders. If this, there could be costs. These are the free zero premium here. But if you would add accidental death or guaranteed purchase option, you're going to have a premium for your life insurance, but the riders are going to be an increase in that premium. You would have to put both of them here. This is a mistake that agents made, and it causes an amendment to come out because you didn't put in the total premium. So again, just be aware of that. If you do have additional premium for products, you're going to put it down here. And then this is going to be added to the life insurance and go up here. Here's these boxes for the accelerated death benefits, which are the living benefit riders, terminal illness, critical illness, chronic illness. And when you check this, there is a separate form in addition to the application that they have to sign. And we'll send that to you as well. So here's the questions. We're not going to go over all of this. I'm just going to point out a few because I know you know how to read, and I know you know how to ask a question and answer it yes or no. However, there are a few things that are really important here that we see that agents make a mistake on. And one of them is in this tobacco use question. It's part 1, question 1 and 2. They forget to check these boxes because it's not in this column where you got all of your other boxes checked. It's offset. Another issue is that when they are checking these, you need to ask the question, because the question is asking if basically, are you a smoker? Yes or no, right? Well, keep in mind, there's another one that says, have you smoked marijuana in the past 12 months? Yes or no? Well, you have to know that even if you're a smoker, you're going to get a smoker rate. But if you are chewing or eating marijuana, then you do not get a smoker rate. They don't count chewing and eating marijuana. You're still answering this question, by the way, yes or no. But if you are eating it, you do not get a smoker rate. So that's going to have a reflection on when you do your quoting. And I'll show you that when we go to the quoting part. I just want to bring it up because it's a question that comes about and agents don't, address it properly. All of these, yes or no, you figure that out. It's not hard to do. It even tells you if you're going to answer certain ones, don't send the app in. Here's another area that's really important. And that is, I'm going to use this on question 2 first. Agents often forget to write the state. We need your driver's license number. We do not need your driver's license. Don't send it to us. We just need the driver's license number and the state. in this case, it says Georgia with the license number. If you just send in the license number, underwriting or, new business is going to call you up and say, hey, what's going on? You didn't answer the app completely, and it's just going to hold it up. If you check all of these boxes off right, cross the T's and dot the I's, you can send this in, and I've seen it issued out in the same day. That's how, and then you're paid tomorrow. That's how nice it is. So make sure you do your due diligence.
Gary,
The
this
other,
is Matt. Oh, I just had a quick question about the licensing, the driver's license.
yes,
So recently I had a client that we're trying to get enrolled, and he had unpaid parking tickets. So in that section where it says, have you had it suspended or revoked? It was suspended. We simply would just write in there unpaid parking tickets. However, if he's paid them off, does the DMV, will they still flag something like that? I can call it.
well, yeah, and we can go over that. Let me go back to, well, since we're there, let me go back to this. And by the way, all of this stuff is in your guide, right?
I did send all the agent guides to the agents as well. So, and if we're missing any of them, I'll make sure that they get them. Those have been kind of the Bible of each one of these products.
Yeah, and it's always good to, to go over that. So it'll break down all these things for you. But what's happening with the drivers, they do the motor vehicle reports. This is simplified issue. It's not guaranteed issue, right? It's simplified issue. They're still going to ask health questions, and they're still going to go out and do their MIB checks. So they're going to look in the Medical Information Bureau, right? They're going to do a prescription check. And what happens there is that, you can't lie on the app. These insurance companies aren't just they're just not going to write it and just say, oh, okay, great. I'm glad you're filling out an app for us, and we're going to write you a policy. They're going to protect themselves with MIBs, motor vehicle reports, and prescription checks. So you can't get away with it. So when somebody says that they have a driving problem, what's going to happen is that, they're going to ask you the questions. And if you've had three, I was just looking for where it's at in this section, but even on the underwriting guides, it'll point out to you that if you have had, well, here's your MIB, your prescriptions, all of these things is what they're checking, right? Here's your motor vehicle report. I know what's in here. I just got to find it.
So I found it yesterday, Gary. I can just call underwriting because they've been very helpful with each of these cases. So yeah, it's just case by case. I understand what you're saying though. Simplified, not guaranteed.
Yeah. So, if you have multiple like DUIs, you're not going to be able to get it. They go 10 years. So you've had multiple DUIs in 10 years, and they don't even want you to have a DUI within the first 3 years. And then when you go into the parking situations where, in this case, it escalated to the point where he or she did it so much that they pulled their license. So that's an issue to the insurance companies. They use that as a red flag. So depending on how many, how often, and how long it's been that you've had your license suspended, that can have a reflection on if they're going to write a case or not. And, the best way to address that is to call the insurance company, or here's a case. I think I've got this here. You can also get a risk assessment by email. So you can't give personal information, and I can't stress this enough, but here's the email address, right? It's right up here. And what you can send them is information that is acceptable. You can't send the non-acceptable stuff. That means we don't want to know their name, their date of birth, their social number, policy number. We don't want any of that stuff. If you send that in, they're going to kick it back to you. Say, sorry, we can't touch this. So just be really generic in what you're saying, but provide them with enough information. If you don't want to make a phone call, and you're like me, you multitask. I'm doing 6 different things at one time. So, I would probably just slap it in an email when I had a second, and I'd send it over to them, to this address, and then you're going to get their opinion. So I think that that's probably a pretty good way to do it, is call them, email them, get the answer, you get it right away. And that's really going to tell you if they're going to write the policy or not. So they do MIB checks, or I'm sorry, they do the motor vehicle reports, just to see if that situation is going on. and we can't do anything about it. It's part of their policy.
I have a quick question that I've started noticing on some underwriting that's becoming more prominent now. Does this company have now underwriting questions pertaining to COVID? And are there disqualifications now with those that have had a positive COVID test or anything in that, regard?
Yeah, they have a little bit of a blurb out there. CFG does, and a lot of the other companies do too. And I think Mo alluded to that earlier when we were on the line, that companies are, well, obviously it caused a lot of deaths, right? I know these guys were at one point in time, I haven't followed up on it, but they were paying on 40 policies a day for people who had COVID that died. So it's going to have an impact, right? When you're looking at paying out that many for one thing that just came up out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's common sense that you're going to start to see, more and more of that. And
But does this particular application ask any of those questions? Because there's some that are like, I think the one that I've seen now that's different than the obvious, like, have you had COVID in the past? Were you confined? Now a new question is, have you now been diagnosed with any type of secondary, health issues from, your diagnosis of COVID?
yeah, these applications haven't changed.
Okay.
Right now, will they? They probably will. But you just have to, that's a great point that you're bringing up, though. Don't read into a question. I've heard most say this a lot of time on training, read the question exactly as it is and don't add to it or take away from it. So if you answer these questions properly down here, there's not a COVID question in here, but you still have to answer these questions properly, right? And I think you're going to see more. Well, we'll have to see what happens, but I really do believe that it's going to have an impact. I'm surprised it hasn't had an impact even on some of the premiums, but they haven't changed premiums either. Going back to this part 4, this is a question that needs to be explained a little bit. This question, if you're a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, or hold a permanent visa, this is going to be answered yes or no, right? So, but it's a multiple question. It's not everything has to be yes and everything has to be no. Are you a U.S. citizen, comma? So are you a U.S. citizen? No. Are you a permanent U.S. resident? Well, we have to have a permanent residency to get insurance. So they're not asking you, this is why I was alluding to read the question. Are you a permanent U.S. resident? They're not asking you if you're a foreign national or not, or a U.S., that you are a U.S. citizen. They're asking here, but this part of it just says, are you permanently living here? So if you've lived here for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we have people that have 10 numbers that have been here for 20 years. So what they're asking is an or. Here's the or right here. It's not and, it's or. Or are you holding a permanent visa? And there's a lot of different visas, right? There's multiple different kinds of those. So what happens here is if you do check this no, then what you want, and you can do that. If you do check it no, then what you're going to have to do is give an explanation, because this is what it says. Please explain, right? What they want to know is, I have a job here. I've been here for 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 20 years. They want to know that you have a permanent resident. So that's how you answer that question. So to explain it a little bit more, here is directly from the head underwriter at CFG, from John. And, what he's saying here, he put it in English and in Spanish because we deal with a lot of people, in the Hispanic marketplace, and agents too, that want to see it in Spanish. But basically what he's saying here is, and you can read it for yourself, foreign nationals, they want you to have a full-time, they want to show that you have some kind of interest here in the United States that is a full-time work relationship, or I'm living here, I've been here for X amount of years. And if you do that, and you can show a valid and a long-term interest in the United States, it must be established. And when you do that, the proposed insurance must have a social number, a green card number, or a TIN number. So they're not treating the TIN numbers any different than they are a social security number or a green card, as long as you can show that you have a long-term interest here. It's okay if you go back to your home country on these vacations. They just don't want you coming in. Let's say you live here, you come to work here for 3 months out of the year, and 9 months out of the year, you're always away in your home country. They're not looking for that. What they're looking for is that long-term relationship. You live here. And I'm saying this, it doesn't say it in here. They're not asking you if you're legal or illegal. They're talking about foreign nationals. So you're living here. Get that, you can even use this if you really had to. If you have people who are afraid, we send this out to you. And it does a pretty good job of explaining how they treat it. So when you're coming back in here, you have to determine how you're going to answer this question. But if you do answer this no, then make sure you give the details here, right? That's all you have to do. And these policies go through over and over every day. There's hundreds of them that they're going through every day are for people with ITINs. So I hope that that's going to be a good sales opportunity for you. Here's the area. If you do have people who have to answer, they've checked yes on the question that they do have some kind of a condition going on. Agents often do not fill this out all the way, but get the doctor's name, get the diagnosis, what was the condition, put the dates in there. If you're on medications, you got to put that in there too. So, this is a typical way to answer this. But if you check this answer yes, that you've got something going on, make sure you fill it out. It saves you a lot of time. Most of this is self-explanatory. Here's where they sign. Here's where the agent signs. Your very first application, by the way, where it says agent number, you're going to get your 6-digit agent number. But until you have that, just put pending in here. That's all you got to do. Send in your contracting, send in your first app. It can even be on yourself, and put pending, and then they'll write the business. I would also say that the most frequently on the building section, the most frequently checked box is draft on issue. So you're going to send in the app, especially your first one, you want it drafted on issue, because your contract, they're going to do vector reports on you and everything else, right? So it takes a little time, sometimes 7 days, sometimes 10. I've seen it go through as quick as 3, but you got to realize that it's going to take about a week or so to get you contracted and get this app checked off. So draft on issue, when you do draft on issue, that's the first premium, the initial premium. Then you have to come in and fill this box in somewhere on subsequent premiums, electronic draft, and you're going to choose, I want it drafted on the 1st, the 10th, the 20th, whatever day of the month that your client wants to be drafted on. Or you can simply choose a day in a week of the month, and they will take it out on that day as well. One note here, if you are filling in this information, or if your client is, please write clearly. As a matter of fact, you guys know this, you're going to use black ink and you're going to write clearly. And if you don't do that, then you're risking, the application being able to be read properly by somebody who still manually reads it. So make sure you make your 2s look like 2s, and, your 7s look like 7s, not like 1s and 5s, right? This page you can pretty much ignore, because you don't have to send in a conditional receipt if you're not collecting money. And that's it. So the application isn't that long. You've got a couple of pages here where you got to answer some health questions, right? One page there, one page here, and that's it. So again, we're going to send this to you so that you have it. Here's the foreign national thing. We'll send that to you. And the next thing is, once you get a writing number, then you can process applications over the phone, in e-app. You go into your agent portal, you're going to click on a button, you're going to get a quote, and then you can process it with a voice signature. But one of the things they do online and even over your cell phone will show you how you can put this risk qualifier right on your cell phone. And what it allows you to do both for SafeShield and for final expense, right? Here's the final dignified choice final expense. They have the same thing, the same kind of calculator. So what happens here, either the phone or your computer, you can punch in your client's information, and what they're going to do, this risk qualifier is going to allow you to enter in data that's going to tell you that your client would most likely qualify for this particular product. So for example, with the final expense product, because we have 3 different products, if you went through the risk qualifier and they didn't qualify for the elite or they didn't qualify for the select, they could qualify for the advantage. This little app, and you have to download it off of the App Store or wherever, or Android, and then you can plug that information in. It's going to tell you if they qualify, and it's going to give you these green, yellow, red statuses, right? So it's going to ask you to plug in some information, and I'm just going to buzz through these slides real quick. It's literally asking underwriting questions, and it's allowing you to put in prescription information, okay? And then what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to see which plans you qualify for, and it's going to be green, yellow, or red. Green meaning yes, you're going to qualify. Yellow meaning maybe we probably need a little more information, and it is going to go through underwriting, a little deeper underwriting. And red means forget it, don't even bother sending it in. So this is done before you process the application. And I'm going to send this to you. I'm not going to go through this whole thing because we'd be here all day, right? But basically what it's doing is allowing you to go through your agent portal, fill out a risk qualifier, go to the e-app, and then send that e-app in. And all you have to do is a voice signature, at the end. That's how their e-app works. And this is how their risk qualifier works. So I know we didn't cover this in depth because you can read a little. We even have a test run that you can do.
All of this is found online, correct?
It is found online, but we're also going to show you how to download it onto your iPhone as well. It's kind of nice too, because you can get a quote. You can actually quote right off of your phone too. But you can do the risk qualifier. It's a separate app. And then you can do a SafeShield app. You can do, a final expense app as well. And both of those have risk qualifiers on them. All it is doing is helping you with the underwriting process. Enter in a little information, get their MIB report, or not their MIB, but get their prescriptions that they take, plug that in, and then it's really going to help you to determine if your client's going to qualify. And if they do, you see that they qualify for the elite, you can send that application in over the phone. You can do it by paper too. And then, what happens is if they don't qualify, for example, for a final expense elite product, CFG is really good about offering you the alternatives, either the select or the advantage. And you can check a box on the application that allows you to do that. So they're trying to find, and they'll even do it with a term product. So let's say you send in a term and they don't qualify for the simplified issued term. If you talk to underwriting, you'll see a decline. You can call into underwriting and say, hey, I'm sorry, new business. You can call in and say, my client got declined. What's going on? And then simply ask them, would they qualify for a final expense? And then they'll tell you, yeah, they'll qualify for, an elite or a select or an advantage. And then you would have to refill out a new application for that. But at least they're looking for alternative ways to give your client some life insurance. And I think that's another plus for the company. So the same thing happens, with final expense, as I started to show you. Here's the risk qualifier. And I'm not going to go through all of this because I want to get into this calculator. Here is what you see on your phone. After you download it, you can plug this information in. It's going to give you, after you do the risk qualifier, it's going to let you see that your client would qualify or not qualify for a specific product, right? So it's kind of nice. You can do, here's where you can see all of the medication list. That's how nice it is. You just plug it in, put the amount in. Look at it. It's a good little app. It's fun to play with. And it's a great tool for you to help you write your business and save a lot of time. In this case, this one is showing you get to select which one that you want to go with. So again, not spending a lot of time here. What I would like to do at this point, unless we have any questions, I'd like to take you into the quoting. If you haven't done it already, I'm going to show you how to do the quoting. And then this is the quoting engine that you have on your computer. It's a little different than your phone because the phone is going to make you just do one product at a time, either final expense or SafeShield term. As a matter of fact, this Life Solutions isn't even offered on a phone quoting platform. So you're going to get final expense or you're going to get SafeShield term. When you do it on your computer, you can download and get all of the quoting on your computer. So does somebody have an example of a quote they'd like to run, and we'll punch it in?
Cece or Rhonda?
Yeah, I have two older clients that their term is about to be up in 2 years, but they wanted to go ahead and get one. One is 66. She's a female.
Okay, so she's going to go 66. What's going to happen is the SafeShield term, you'll see it goes up to 65.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's punch in a female, 66. We'll collect, I'm assuming it's Texas.
Texas, yes.
Yeah, you'll notice that if you change states, it doesn't change the premium, just so you know. At least I haven't found one that they changed the premium on. So I don't know what she was looking for, and maybe she's not looking for final expense, but this is a good example of what final expense costs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I know she wanted something that had some type of like cash value attached to it.
Okay, well, let's take a look at that, because this is a good way to show you what happens in the software. I really like the software because you can switch between plans and products and everything just with a click of a button. So let's just jump to an assumption of what we see, and not to take away from what you were trying to ask, but a $12,000 is an average face amount for a final expense product. Texas, 66-year-old female, non-tobacco, without any riders added in here, it's $54 a month. So when you go into asking about what kind of cash value do you have on this quoting platform, you can hit, I want to get a quick quote. And over here on this quick quote, it's going to show you what your cash values are, because you have cash accumulation with final expense products, right? So she went in at 66. Let's take a look at, 10 years down the road. So now she's 76. Here's what happens in 10 years. She has an annualized premium that doesn't change, right? See, these premiums don't change. You can live, as I like to say, as old as Moses, right? You can. Your premium's not going to change. Your cash value or your premium's not going to change. Your death benefit's not going to change. Look, it's always the same. All the way down here to she's 119 years old, right? It's the same price. What does change is your cash value. So after 10 years, when this person is age 76, her premium is still the same. Her death benefit is still the same, but she's built up $2,879 in cash value. Now, what that means, and this isn't the greatest cash accumulation example, but what it means is that at this point, she could say, I'm tired of life insurance. I don't like my kids anymore. Forget about it. I'm taking the money and I'm going to go do whatever I want to do, right? She can take out the $2,879 and cash out her policy, and she's over with it. She also can do a reduced paid up, which I'm hoping you guys are familiar with that. But a reduced paid up means I'm not going to make any more premiums. Stop making my premium. I don't want it coming out of my account, but I still want insurance. So what the company does is they take this money and they apply it to a term insurance, in essence. And what they're telling you is that you can stop making your payments. You can get $4,821 worth of death insurance for 8 years with no premium. So that would take her from 76 to 8. She'd be 83 years old, and she wouldn't have to make a payment from 76 to 83 because she's going to get $4,800 and change for insurance. So that's a cash value. Now, the same thing happens, of course, as you're getting older. So if she came down, from, let's say, to 20 years, you can see her cash value has gone up, right? Premium still stays the same, death benefit's the same, her cash value has gone up. And because insurance costs more as you get older, you're not going to see a big benefit by doing a reduced paid up. It's there. It'll give her 7 more years for no premium. This little tool here is quite nice. And if you want a full report, then you come in here and this is what you would email your client. So you put your name on it, their name on it, all your information is going to show up. Here's a breakdown. Here's their cost, what product they have, everything in here. It's a nice little proposal, right? Here's the example that I gave you, all of the death benefit cash value. This is a nice little thing to show your customer in a sales, because sometimes they don't understand that they build cash value or that their premium never changes. I mean, look right here, you can see it doesn't change, right? You can go all the way down. You plan on living to be 121, guess what? Your premium's never going to change. It is nice to be able to have that available. You can even email it to a client, download it and email it. Again, what happens here, I'm going to go back to the I-10 for a second. You can write up to $15,000 with I-10 on their final expense. Their SafeShield term, and I'm just going to jump in here for a minute. And let's say that we have a 40-year-old female in Texas. I forgot to add those riders, by the way. Let's take a look at these riders. So here is terminal illness, no charge. Chronic illness, no charge. Critical illness, no charge. If you did put in a child term rider, which is really nice, let's say that we want to add $5,000 for a child term rider, it's $1.04. With final expense and SafeShield term, you can go up to 20 children, grandchildren, step grandchildren. The final expense product is big on that. A lot of the grandmas want life insurance, and you can add up to 20 different grandchildren, step grandchildren onto the plan. It's $1.04 a month for $5,000. Not a bad deal, right? So let's come in here and let's say that we want $50,000. Here you can see $50,000 SafeShield term, 15-year SafeShield term, non-tobacco. All of these zero premiums riders are in there. So you have terminal, chronic, critical. You have common planes, trains, automobiles, right? You added the children's term. You also have the unemployment waiver, which isn't a great benefit. I mean, it's okay. It's going to make your premiums for you if you're unemployed for more than 4 weeks. And, you're seeing that the premium on this product is $15.39, $184. You say, wow, that's not very much money. Maybe I better go in here and add accidental death, right? You can do, adds a little cost. Now your premium's up to $20 a month, which is $249. You can see how inexpensive this is. This is an easy product to write. But here's what we usually have agents do. So that's a 15-year for $20. What if I went to 20? Look at the difference. The difference in this case, 5 years extra worth of $50,000 of insurance is only going to cost you about a couple bucks more. So you can take it a step farther. What if you compared a 15 and a 30? Now you're at 27, less than $350 a year. And if you want to return a premium, you come in here, run a 20-year return of premium. Not bad prices for what you're getting, right? The 20-year term, let's go to a 30-year return of premium, $28. Nice premiums. Let's take it up as an example, and you guys can play with these. Here's 100,000. So 100,000, 30-year return of premium for a 40-year-old female in Texas is $56 a month with all of these extra benefits included in there. How does that sound? Is that something you could sell?
I think it's great. I think it's one of the easiest softwares to kind of jump between different products, and it doesn't make you start over from scratch every time. So the more I've gotten familiar with it, the more I like it.
You know
Plus,
what I would do, and I have done, is that if I'm doing a Zoom with a client, or if I was sitting with a client, I would bring up this calculator and I would show them this calculator. This is your close right here, because you can pick out whatever product you want to. You always have two, right? Ben Franklin said that, right? You got to have two. We all know that. Find the product that you're going to sell against each other, and then let them choose. Do you want a 30-year term, or do you want a 30-year return of premium? I mean, let them choose. If you want to make it 15 or 30 or however you want to position it, this is a great little sales tool here. And then you can show them if you guys are confused and maybe you can't remember everything like I'm getting as I get older, right? You click this feature button and look, it brings up everything that you need to know right here. Accelerated death benefit, living benefit riders, accidental death, common carrier. It gives you everything that you need to know right here. And by the way, on these children term riders, what happens there is that they get a guaranteed issued policy, and they can convert that policy, as they get older, and you can write all kinds of children and grandchildren in there. They have limits on how much they're going to get, right? Then they got a maximum of 20, so you can't have more than 20 of them there. But what happens is on these children term riders, what's really nice about it is that is guaranteeing them insurance as they get older. So between 21 and 25, they can convert these policies into a policy of their choice, guaranteed issued. So there's some nice extra benefits in here, but this little feature button gives you everything you need for your sales presentation. And if you want a few more resources, so here's the needs calculator. It's an online needs calculator because people don't know how much they need. They tell you one thing, but they really need more, right? So all you got to do is march them through this, and you'll find out that you'll increase your face amount because they really do need more. And there's life expectancy calculator. Here's the diabetic calculator. So they will take diabetics with certain criterias, and what they're doing is they're adding up points. So you fill in this information, and they're going to ask you some questions, and it's going to tell you if they would accept it. So, insulin-dependent diabetics are nobody's favorite. That's why they make guaranteed issued for people like that. But there's a lot of people who are diabetics that are type 2s. And, you got to watch, they're going to ask you things like weight and height and, what kind of medications are you on, how long you've had it, how old you are. So all of that comes into play once in a while. But this little calculator up here is really nice. You can save your cases here. You can go back and find your cases. It's a little database of stuff that you could keep here. So I think that this tool is really what you need to be able to access. So to access it, let me jump in here. I'm just going to cfglife.com, right? Did everybody get that? Columbia Financial Group Life.com, cfglife.com. I'm going to show you how to get your applications so that you could go write some business today. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over to producers. You're going to hit resources. And I have slides on this, but this is pretty simple. cfglife.com, go to producers, hit resources. And the first thing you're going to do is come in and get your illustrations. They call it calculators and quotes. So let me point out when you come to this page, if you're on your computer, you click this. This is going to give you that you saw my computer and my quotes, right? It showed all of their plans. So you would want to come in and click this for your computer. If you're putting this on your phones, you have to do it separately. So if you want the SafeShield term on your phone, not your computer, but on your phone. You're going to click here. And then what you want to do is you're going to come in where it says iPhone, iPad, Android, right? You're going to click on that. And we have these screenshots. We can send them to you, but you can do this right now, right on your phone. So what it's telling you to do is to go to the App Store, right? Here for iPhone, opening up the App Store. And then you're going to, of course, you got to type in SafeShield calculator and then open it up in the App Store, hit the Get button. And then when you open it up, you have to have this code right here. CFG SIT, that stands for Simplified Issued Term. If you're going to download the final expense, then you're going to end up using the code CFG-FE for final expense. So that's how easy it is to get this. Let me open up this just so that you see I'm telling you the truth. Here it is right here. CFG final expense. In this case, you're going to the App Store, you search for CFG final, and then it'll pop up on your phone and you do what you got to do. So you'll have all of that available on your phone. And then if you do want to put it on your computer, you're going to click this button and it's going to tell you how to do it. You just follow the download and install on Windows, right? Does that sound simple? So that's how you get your calculations. What I want to show you is how to get an app. Resources, a la carte forms. What we're going to do is select, let's say we want simplified issue. Next, pick a state. Hit next. There you go. There's all your forms right here. You're going to find everything in here that you need. So let's say that you want to find the agent guide and you're like me, maybe you're a little too impatient to go through that whole thing. You could type in agent. Here's your agent guide. Let's say that you wanted to learn more about the telesales. How do you make a sale over the phone and where's my guide? Well, right here, you can bring it up. All you got to do is put in a little bit. Here's the child term rider. This is a separate form. If you're going to insure somebody, they're going to ask a couple of questions. So on this rider for the child, if you're going to add a child rider on there for let's say $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, you're going to open up this form. And then this form is going to, well, here's what the form looks like. You're going to fill in a name. How many units do you want? $1,000 is one unit. 15 units would be, $15,000. You got name, address, social, date. It could be, in this case, it's probably not an I-10, but you're going to put all that information in right here. And you're going to ask a couple of questions, right? They want to know if you've had AIDS, if you take drugs, do you have heart attack, stroke, cancer, diabetes, knockout questions. And then the client signs off on it. The agent signs off on it. This gets attached with the application. So when you're sending in your first app, and we'll send this out to you, but I know Matthew and Larry and all the guys know we want you to send it in to us first. We have fax numbers. We have secure email, all of that stuff. You can even get it to us in some way, shape, or form, and we'll look it over. But we need the full application and any additional applications, including child term riders. And you can choose this from any state, right? Any state, any product. If you're going to be licensed in more than one state, then we need your license on your contracting. So if you're in Texas, Illinois, and Florida, we would need all of those state licenses. And then when you go to your agent portal, it's going to allow you to do the e-apps for the states that you're licensed in. So it's really important that you include that. I think that is all that I have.
You've been listening to the Ensurity Group with Mo Flores. Learn, grow, have fun, make money. Listen again soon for another podcast. But in the meantime, we're always an email away. 24/7, 365 at operations@insuritygroup.com. Find us on the website at insuritygroup.com and reach out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And don't forget, you can support us by donating at anchor.fm/insuritygroup/support. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.